Bruh.
There you go.
Jesus.
Yeehaw, everybody. Hey.
Hell yeah.
Hey.
Super duper, gang.
Episode 25, still not canceled. What up? High five, everyone.
New record for me in podcasts. Here we go.
Oh, is this the most episode? Oh, how many episodes did the Steamy Nook do?
I actually don't remember. Rest in peace.
I don't even remember either.
Anyway, welcome to the Play Elitist Podcast, where we're all music elitists, and that's okay.
And that's okay.
My name is Wiley. Fuck that guy. This is my best friend, Steve.
Dust off your vinyl, charge your iPod Nano, and watch Lilo and Stitch. Because, baby, we built a good playlist tonight. It's a good time. Good time. What do you guys think?
Are we sponsored by Disney?
God, we should be. That
You're going to get us in trouble.
That or Garage Beer.
Why is it the Surge logo?
Don't ask questions.
Okay.
Say Garage Beer. Yes. Hi.
We don't get paid by them. Why do we
We
gotta
need
say it?
to. If we talk about them enough.
Write an email, draft a business proposal, and shoot it their way, dude.
Garage.
You can have my share of Garage Beers if you do that.
And we are joined.
BRB.
And we are joined.
Steve's going to write an email expeditiously while we're recording right now.
Let's finish the intro. And we are joined by the glue that we confuse with lotion. Everyone, give it up for our good, swell, handsome friend, producer Mike.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Give me some of that goo, baby.
I just talking about the glue is actually lotion. Anyway, wasn't that American Pie? Didn't that happen? One of the American Pies?
I'm glued. I'm glued. Yes.
Man, guys, this was a really, really good episode. Let's not do all the teasing and goofing around we do. We brought on Nick Ghanbarian from Bayside today, and what an episode. We made an incredible playlist that you can click the show notes and listen to the playlist that we put together. But what'd you guys think, man? What are your thoughts?
I think it's a great playlist. And if you want to spoil the episode, you can just go listen to it right now. Links in the show notes.
Yeah, go for it.
Or you can wait, listen to our picks, and then at the end of the show, go click that link. Go save the playlist. Listen to it over and over again and transport yourself to the places that we highlight in today's show.
Yeah. Nick actually chose the topic for the playlist, and it's songs that feel like places. So we actually made a playlist all about, songs that made us feel like, back home or into a place that we loved or longed to be. And it was very good, man. Like the songs on the playlist are awesome. I'm actually, time out. Steve, you've been crushing it lately, buddy. You've been crushing it with the songs that you're adding to the playlist. I just want to say that. Like,
you fucked up.
Damn it.
Just saying.
The next one is going to be fucking Tina Turner, Private Dancer, for no reason. Like, private dancer, dancing for money.
Write that down.
Do what you want me to do. I'm a better falsetto singer than I am an actual singer, and that sucks because I am a singer. Oh, God. But yeah, dude, that was a great playlist. Mike, you also crushed it with your choices. But I think, like, even just the storytelling that we all did, I think that, like, when we saw the title that he wanted to use for the topic for this, I think we all kind of transported to, like, places in our past or things that we did, in the past. And, they gave us the warm and fuzzies or drove us back to a time, like he talks a lot about international. I know the three of us probably haven't traveled as much internationally as he has. So he got to talk a little bit more to international travel as to where we spoke a little bit more to, like, places that we have lived or go.
Yeah, I kind of have just maintained West Coast, like from where I'm at in Washington all the way down through to Mexico. I've been to New York once. I actually went to Long Island once for just a work thing. But other than that, I've just been solidified West Coast life.
Yeah. And I'm still mad that Steve played a song that from people that are in fucking Rust Belt that try to call it the Midwest. Unless you're in like Minnesota or Chicago or Wisconsin, you're not getting on any frozen water. I mean, you can, but you're going to fall in. That music video that you played. I'm not telling the artist.
Literally standing on frozen water playing.
In Ohio.
Yeah.
It's much colder in Ohio than it is in Southern Illinois or St. Louis. Chicago, that's fair. Chicago and Wisconsin and anywhere in Minneapolis, as far as Midwest, definitely gets that.
I picked a song that sparked an initial conversation of beef that I wasn't aware of. So if you guys want to figure out what that was all about, you got to listen to today's episode.
I like beef.
Beef's pretty good.
I smell like beef.
I say that we just let everybody enjoy the episode. So let's jump over and let everybody hear us build a playlist with Nick Ghanbarian from Bayside.
Hell yeah.
It's a banger.
Not allegedly.
Legit.
Was that applause or rain? I don't.
I don't know.
It looks like rain.
Let the rain come down. All right.
Don't.
All right, guys. So, yeah, it's time to bring in our guest. And what a legendary guest we have today. Kind of a punk, emo, pop punk legend. This fella was in the friggin' movie life before he ventured over to his current band. He's spent the last 22-ish years touring, writing bangers, and being one of my favorite podcasters where he hangs out with other music legends and talks about one of the greatest movie franchises ever, Star Wars. Maybe you've checked out the podcast Think the Maker, or maybe you've been to one of their epic Star Wars Emo Nite Crossover events called Mosh Eisley. But chances are you've heard some bangers where he does some writing and provides some sweet, sweet low end for songs like Sick, 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 Devotion and Desire, Hello Shitty, my favorite, and more. Know who we're talking about? If not, I find your lack of knowledge disturbing. I had to do a
Good
Vader
job.
thing.
Good job.
I just don't have the Vader voice, you know. But in all seriousness, we're all fanboying right now because today's guest is Mr. Nick Ghanbarian from the legendary band Bayside. Nick, what's up?
Thank you. Hundreds of people applaud me.
That might have been the yelling they prepped you for.
No, thank you for having me. I've been home for probably less than 48 hours from tour. I know we were talking off camera. I haven't even been on my own podcast in like 2 months. So I just had to get on early and make sure all my gear still works.
They're going to be like, what the hell? You can be on other people's podcasts?
Yeah, I mean, I felt bad because last night was the first night I was able to like hang out with my girlfriend, and I got a text from them like, hey, we're about to hop on. Didn't realize you were home. Do you want to come and podcast? I'm like, no. Next week,
No.
I will come back. I promise. But last night was my first night that I like actually got to spend time with my lady. So I was like, I'm gonna not talk about Star Wars this week.
It's like,
Take
I've been
that,
cramped
Adam.
in with a bunch of dudes. Like, let me take that, Adam. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love it. You tell that mean Adam. We're so grateful that you hit me back in the when I dropped into your DMs. Thank you, dude.
Of course,
because this is gonna be one hell of a playlist. I already know. Like, I don't even have to be concerned that we're all gonna provide some pretty sweet music today. But obviously, we love making playlists with people who love music, and this is our 25th episode doing so, and we get to celebrate this milestone with you, dude. So this is gonna be really
great.
cool.
Is that the silver anniversary? Right, 25.
Is that what it is? 25 is a silver?
Might be, or I
I
just
can
made
hear-
that up. I'm not sure.
Silver
I think-
Jubilee. Silver
Yeah.
Anniversary.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
There we
Silver.
go.
Episode.
One of my favorite X-Men, too.
When I heard silver, I was like, you calling me old, bro?
You calling me old, bro?
And that's fine. But what's really cool is, we always have our guests choose a topic for each of these podcasts, for the playlist that we're going to put together. And Nick, you chose the topic, songs that feel like places. And dude, I was immediately taken away to a wondrous place of magic and nostalgia in my ADHD brain. Because I'm just like, look at all these endless opportunities for songs. So with that said, man, what made you come up with that idea?
I mean, it's really a bizarre thing because I think in pop music, I'm not so sure that exists, but in like a hyper focus like punk or emo or hardcore, or whatever, I feel like where you're from is such a part of your identity, and it's so important to what you sound like and how you carry yourself. Which is, I mean, why I think we're all drawn to like these kind of like micro scenes, of punk and emo, whatever. So a lot of bands just sound like and want to sound like they're representing where they're from. So I don't know. It is important to me, being from Long Island and being in the movie life and a band called Silent Majority. Like that's definitely part of the Long Island sound that generations, like 2 generations later, bands are listening, like a band like Koyo or something, are kind of listening to those old bands like Movie Life and Silent Majority and kind of doing their own take on that sort of thing. So I mean, just being an East Coast guy, like having bands from Jersey and Philly and stuff, like they all have their own vibe, you know. And then there's just some of my more favorite bigger bands that all represent where they're from, and you could kind of not only lyrically, but you could just hear where they're from in their music. And I think that that's a real special thing. And I certainly appreciate it. And even when I'm not from some of those places, it's kind of like always been a goal of mine to go and see the some of my favorite bands in their hometowns, because I think that their live show um, kind of benefits from it. I think they give a little bit more when you see a band in their hometown. Maybe the set list is a little different, but for those shows. But I don't know. It just seems like a very kind of hyper focused thing that comes from our world. But I feel like a couple of the bands that I chose are actually pretty bigger. They're bigger bands. So I guess I appreciate that about them.
Surprisingly enough, I wasn't even seeing that topic that way, but I somehow fell into that because now I'm looking
Yeah.
at my song choices. I'm like, wait a minute.
Well, I mean, the thing is, too, is when I was choosing songs, I felt like a lot of times, more so than not, I fell into the idea of where I was when I was listening to them, you know? Like, so it wasn't necessarily like representing of their hometown, but, you know, I could easily just think of Green Day and think about being in my bedroom, you know, like learning bass lines or whatever when I was 13. So I didn't want to like make it such a personal thing. I wanted it to be like, uh, you know, bands from New York or whatever, band from LA, you know, like I think it's a really unique thing when it comes to music to make a song that feels like almost like a song that kind of feels like an anthem for where you're from.
No, we had the band Strata on at the beginning, towards the beginning of the season, and they were bigger in the early 2000s, on some soundtracks and stuff. But it was kind of funny. We had a discussion about like kind of to that point about where you can kind of hear where bands are from sometimes just in their sound because they're from Northern California and they have some of that like ethereal kind of sound to their music, like Deftones and Dredge. Several other bands that come from that area. So that's funny that you mentioned. You can actually hear that sometimes just in the music. I think I was trying to do as much research as I could, right? So I can be a professional, whatever this is. But I read about how much you actually really grew up loving a lot of San Francisco or the Bay Area type band,
Yeah.
punk scene, right?
Yeah, I mean, it all, you know, I've never shied away that I'm just, you know, I was the perfect age for Green Day and The Offspring to hit on MTV for me to like all of that stuff, but also it just put me on the trajectory of wanting to play music and be into, you know, kind of that world. It wasn't just whatever's on MTV I'm gonna like. It kind of sidetracked me because before that it was, you know, I liked Nirvana as much as like the average person back then. They didn't make me pick up an instrument though. That was Green Day. So the whole grunge thing, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of where I want to be. You know, what kind of feels right for me as like a 12-year-old liking music. But then when Green Day and The Offspring and Bad Religion, like all of these bands started to really hit, it just felt like that's who I was. And which is like such a, you know, I mean, I guess I was looking for who I was just as much as any other like teenager, but it just felt so natural. Like it was the first time in my life I was compelled to do something. Like it felt like I almost wasn't in control anymore. I was like, I have to be a musician. I have to play, you know, and like even picking bass wasn't even necessarily my choice. I was like the third person in my friend group to get an instrument. So like someone started playing guitar, someone started playing drums. I'm like, I guess I'll play bass. So it's not like I like sought it out. It's just that
story.
I was trying to form the band, you know. I was like, if we're gonna be like Green Day, I guess I gotta play bass, you know. That went nowhere immediately, but then I was just playing bass, you know.
It's so funny how many bass players started because of that exact, scenario.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well, my friends were all buying instruments and
Yeah.
they got a guitar already. He got
No
drums
one
already.
wants to play bass. They just have to. I still joke about it because I just like being self-deprecating. I mean, I'll anytime I can make it. It's just it's just bass joke. I do it.
I still think, I mean, outside of being a front man, I think being a bass player is the most fun on stage. You can get away with the most without a doubt. I mean, you can Not that you should, but you can miss a note here and there, and people probably aren't going to necessarily hear that. So you can have a little bit more fun on stage.
There's less responsibility. I don't deny that. That's part of the self-deprecating humor, I feel like. Ant and Jack are doing, and Chris are all doing a lot more stuff on stage than I am. So I got time to have a little bit more fun.
It's like, where'd that kick go? Oh, I found it. All right, we're good, guys. We're good. Back on track. Dude, that's awesome. And I love I love where you came up with the idea for this. And I'm very excited about this playlist. I immediately started thinking, I know Steve and I both were texting back and forth whenever we found out your topic. We were like, oh, we got ideas. So it was hard to take it from like 20 down to 3, but we did. And I think Mike was actually struggling to get his last one in, and probably because he was having a hard time figuring out what that third one was going to be.
My picks are going to be a mix of both ideas I have for what your theme could mean. So bands from the area, but also what makes me think of an area. So that's where I went today.
It's kind of the same avenue I went as well. Kind of like, songs that I've heard, and I'm like if they say a place, it's like, okay, you painted a picture of that place. Now I can visualize it. Now when I go there, I can be disappointed when it isn't as beautiful as what you just said.
Hey, what do you guys say? You want to play it, put it in the key of this is going to be badass, and take this for a walk. That's supposed to be a bass joke, and I fucked it up, but it's fine.
Jesus,
nailed it. Let's do it.
Nailed it.
When I hear that in the studio, I start to grin. When we're like, just take it for a walk. I'm like, no.
Put the pick down, all right?
Stroll.
And just I'm just kidding. I'm a pick bassist, all right? But yeah, guys, let's make this damn playlist. So the thing we're going to do is Nick will kick us off, then we'll jump it over to Steve, then to Mike, and then I will close it out. But it's just that simple. It's going to be all about songs that feel like places. And remember, click the show notes that you listen to this episode on. Just click the show notes, and you have this playlist that we're making right now. You have it. It's yours to keep. Give it to me, Mom, Papa. All right?
I promise to make it. I promise.
So with that said, Nick, dude, kick us off with your very first choice.
A band I haven't shut up about for probably over a decade at this point. A band called Wolf Alice from London. Their song called Don't Delete the Kisses. So I'm thinking also with the video in mind, they're obviously in London and on the tube and all this stuff. So I think that helps. That helps me kind of go to London in my head. But I think that song in general feels like a place. Like when I came up with an idea for this whole playlist and this episode and stuff, it's fully 100% based off of that song, because I think that it's one of the most beautiful songs that I have ever heard. It might actually be my favorite song ever at the end of the day.
Wow.
And it's a pretty unique song, and I think that the people who get it hold it super, super dear to their heart. And it is their biggest song, even though they've gone on to be a pretty massive and successful band. I don't think anything has reached the heights of that song for them. And that really means a lot to me, because I think it's a really special song. It does not it is not a typical pop single or typical rock and roll single at all. So the fact that people really resonate with it is it's an amazing thing. And anytime I can see them, I see them. Me and my lady are going to Japan in November to see them, because we're like, that would be awesome. Let's travel halfway around the world to go see them play this song. We have matching tattoos based off of this song. It's
wow.
It's how we met, actually. Me and my lady met when we met on Bumble, and I had a dating app called Bumble, and we both had Wolf Alice in our dating apps. So it was almost like this thing where I'm just like, if I ever talk to anyone who knows who this band is, because they're from London, they do well here, but they're massive everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing she ever wrote me was Wolf Alice Fans Unite or something like that. So it's definitely a big deal that we met through them. We finally got to see them last year together for the first time. So it's they're an important band to me. They're a band that I saw play to 200 people over a decade ago in Colorado, and I was like, this band is unbelievable. And I've just followed them ever since and watched them in a year go from playing to 200 people to opening for the 1975 in front of 13,000 people in New York all in a year, and then I'd see them add 200 people to every show that I saw them at for every year, so I think that they're one of the best bands on earth. America sort of gets it. The UK and Europe definitely get it more. But yeah, I love them, and they're the reason why I chose this whole like place thing, because they do sing about England a lot. They sing about London a lot, and there's nothing better for me when I'm on tour and I get to walk around London or something and listen to them, because it just sounds like their sound is so important to who they are, and not only who they are as individuals, but as a band too. So yeah, I owe them.
Yeah, I really
not
liked
only my relationship, I guess, at this point, but I owe them the idea for this playlist also.
I loved how it was poppy and catchy, but there wasn't like a heavy like melody going over that. That was really cool, and I was like, "This is super good." And I've definitely had some memory flashes of like when I heard this song, but this is much softer than what you're known for, Nick. So like,
yeah,
what is it about this band that made you think, man, this is it's writing the notes that my heart sings?
Yeah. Well, I guess their first record, or the first two records, they were a little bit more of a rock band, but they're absolutely in a category of a band that's like, let's not do the same thing twice, So they're on like album 4 now, and they're well into this kind of almost like 70s, like I don't know, 70s yacht rocky type stuff. But it's all, I'm like, I didn't know I wanted to hear this, but I do. It's amazing,
So interestingly enough, I just decided to look them up. I actually have, looks like a song from The Clearing, favorited, White Horses.
Yeah. That's interesting enough about that song. I think there's a couple different songwriters in the band, but the drummer is for sure one of them, and he's actually lead vocals on that. So I want to say that might be, I haven't looked at like numbers or anything, but that might be the most popular song on their new record, is a song that their drummer sings.
Yeah, of the new record, it looks like on Apple Music, that is Don't Delete the Kisses is their most streamed song, and then right below that is White Horses.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's a great song, and again, it's like just one of those things. They're true, like, and I don't necessarily like gravitate towards this sort of thing. I'm just something about them I really connect with, but like they're true artists, like they're the fact that they bet on themselves all the time to do something new, and it's good, and their band grows, and they expect a lot of themselves, which means like people expect a lot of them, like it's like very rare for me at this point in my life to find bands that when like new music is coming out feels like a moment to me, and like that's one of them for sure. So again, can't ask anyone around me. I haven't shut up about them in 10 years, but I feel like I'm like validated because they're always getting bigger. They're, playing arenas in the UK and Europe. They opened for Harry Styles like 2 or 3 years ago. I'm like, hey, I think I was right. I think this man's.
I think you're onto something, sir.
Fun fact. I've just been kind of struggling ever since you said Wolf Alice. I'm like, I know this band. So, I went in the old iMessage and I typed in the band name just to see if I'd had a conversation with somebody about them before. Yeah. In 2016, a girl that I met on Bumble, I was having a text message and conversation with, and then talking about her going to a Wolf Alice show and then telling me how much I need to listen to them. We had like several threads of conversations about the band. So yeah.
Is she in Orange County?
Yeah. I don't want to know that it's my girlfriend.
No, it was St. Louis. It was when I lived in St. Louis for a year.
Okay.
It's about to be a totally different podcast.
Oh man, that's an awesome song, and I'm really excited to dive back in.
Definitely.
to Wolf Alice. So Nick, getting us started off in a great way. Steve, let's hear your first pick.
All right, yeah, I guess I can stick with the vibe. Let's go with from the latest album from the Gorillaz. This is God of Lying.
Haven't heard that one.
Love the guy. I love the lead singer of the Idols. Love that man to death. That's. I was listening to that album again. I find myself revisiting that album quite often. The fact that they tried to tie in sounds from London. They did. They tried to tie in the sounds of India and places like that. They recorded all over the place, but the India like strings and sounds that you would hear from that distinct area is something that they really leaned into with this album. I was also reading that a lot of this, and I guess I just never paid attention, because as good as that album is, it's very much, you can throw it on whether you're streaming it, whether you're listening to the record, whether you're doing whatever. It's a good background. It's something that you can just vibe to as you're doing whatever. But the cool thing about this album, the one thing that I like about it so much, is that it's a thematic album, and it's death, grief, and the afterlife. And I never realized that until I actually read it. And then I was like, this album makes a lot more sense now.
No.
And that one's actually one of my favorite songs, because I remember when it came out, it was shortly after I saw Idols open for Deftones. And I had heard the name Idols, and I was like, these guys are amazing. Why am I just now hearing of them? And I've been obsessed with them ever since. And then, of course, when I see Idols as a feature, I kind of leaned into that too.
Yeah, definitely. I could see myself walking down somewhere in like Camden or something, London, with that on headphones and it feeling good,
Yeah.
So I think that's a good choice.
I need to go to London apparently.
Yeah,
that's what I'm.
I mean,
only
the
been in
culture
Mexico.
for alternative music is just like so
Yeah.
much better, like that's probably a song that a lot of people listen to there, and I mean, I guess it is here too, but like, I don't know, it's their culture for bands like whatever, like Arctic Monkeys and stuff like
I would
there's
say
just,
Muse,
yeah,
Muse,
like there's just such a already like a bigger kind of like starting point, but also landing point for alternative music in the UK. It's I'm jealous.
We had a guest on the beginning of the season, and they our buddy Cody from Die Young, and he brought up Gorillaz, and we had some great conversations, and it actually put me into a whole thing where I went in and I was listening to the first two albums. Was it Demon Days and Self-Titled? I think I dove into those hardcore, but then never went past it. So now, Steve, you got me thinking, come on, dude.
Mhm.
Go a little, dig a little deeper.
The Mountain's good. It'll probably take a couple listens before you like fully are like, I love this or I enjoy this, because it took me about 2 or 3 listens, and on the second listen is when I found out that it's it's about dying, grieving, and the afterlife and all that stuff. So kind of opens it up. Maybe you'll have a different listening experience now knowing that before going into it. Give it a listen. It's a good album.
Hey, dying is a place too. Death.
It's true.
There you go.
That is true.
I say you, he did. I'm just going to keep quoting Family Guy all day, I guess. I don't know why.
I say you,
or
he
where.
did.
And the Colonel isn't even working today? He did.
Nice, Steve. I love the pick. Mike, let's go.
All right. My pick for where we're going today is 4 Year Strong, Heroes Get Remembered.
Oh, something tells me I'm never gonna live this one down, but I'm down enough, cause if the tension's right in the feather, then I'll be bored, then we gotta...
So while
Yeah,
these
buddy.
guys may be from East Coast, when I hear them, it actually takes me to a small little stage at this little venue in Ventura during this event called Warped Tour. I'm like immediately transported to like being at Warped Tour, seeing 4 Year Strong play. Well, when I hear them, any of their songs really, but that's like my place, or that's where I go whenever I think about 4 Year Strong in that song.
Yeah, that's a quintessential Warped Tour band. Like they probably never do better than when they're on Warped Tour. Like it's definitely, I don't know. I think you're right. I think it's like the most Warped Tour-y sound, like that kind of thing.
It's also wild that like the first time I realized, this is a while back, but the first time I realized that they're not from California, because they sound like a California band.
Yes.
In no way do they sound like something from the East Coast. So I've always thought that. And, I love 4 Year Strong, and I got in them pretty late, which bummer, because whenever, you start getting the pop punk fused with like the metalcore, and everybody was like, A Day to Remember. Everybody's like, Day to Remember. And I was definitely, let's go A Day to Remember. And I never heard 4 Year Strong until I heard about beef between the two, the fans of both. And I'm like, Team A Day to Remember all day long. And now I'm kind of like, not that I'm anti Day to Remember, I love A Day to Remember, but I think I love the music of 4 Year Strong more, just after catching up, diving into all of the discography, seeing them live a few times. Last year at Warped Tour blew my mind here in Long Beach. They were so good.
Yeah, every time I've seen them, solid show. Crazy show. Crazy audience usually, but it's great.
Yeah, we've toured, we were probably one of the first bands. I mean, I want to say like 2007, we brought them on tour, and we wound up doing a lot of touring with them back in the day. And we tried to take them out pretty recently, like a couple of years ago, and they bailed on the tour kind of, a little last minute. But yeah, I mean, they've always been kind of a band that were on our radar back in the day, and we wound up sharing the stage a lot with them for sure.
That their last album, Analysis Paralysis, that was one of my favorite albums of 2023, or was it 23 or 24? Either way, that year it was one of my favorite albums. It was so good. Mike, definitely bringing me back there. We haven't brought a lot of 4 Year Strong onto the show.
No, which is surprising because I think I know every song of theirs, like lyrically. So I feel like that's kind of surprising, to be honest.
So Mike was at the back of the room frowning at all the ADTR kids. I get it. That's what was
I
going on.
also equally like them, and until just now, I didn't know there was a beef.
Hey, we also brought A Day to Remember on tour.
So.
I always joke that we probably have like a Hall of Fame roster of bands that we brought on tour. I mean, we brought Paramore out. We brought both of these bands out. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of anything more recent too.
Did you guys bring out Seosin too back in the day?
I feel like so.
Oh God,
no,
that was Story. That was Story of the Year. Sorry, that was Story of the Year that did that. It is kind of fun when you look back and see like some of the bands that at maybe temporarily or even in the long run kind of bypassed some of the band. Overtook in popularity some of the bands that got them started on the road. Like there's for a while there, Amberlin. Like Story of the Year used to take them out all the time, and then Amberlin got really huge there for a while.
Yeah.
Story of the Year wasn't really doing much during that time, but it was still crazy to see like a band that was just some little touring band with them to blow up the way they did. Amberlin's top 5 bands for me. So.
Love them. Love them forever.
Man, I love the way this is going. Mike, 4 Year Strong, solid pick.
Great choice.
And then I will go ahead and I'll go ahead and throw my first pick down. Now, see, this band, I moved to Northern California back in like 2013, Northern California in 2013. And I stumbled across this band, I the Mighty. This is their song, Hearts and Spades.
On tour also.
Hearts and Spades.
You be hearts and I'll be spades. I'm coming back, but it may not be.
There's a studio version of this as well, but I just love the acoustic version.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's so good.
That's so cool. It just sounds like you're hanging out with them and they're just like playing right in front of you.
This was before they got their drummer, if I understand the story correctly. They put out an acoustic EP, which is a banger. And then they got their drummer, brought him into the band, and put out went on like a 4-album tear of just 4 of my favorite albums of all time. So, but that song reminds me of being in, I lived in Sacramento for like 8 years, and my time in NorCal, like it was some of my favorite times of my entire life. And I remember one time my whole group of friends, we piled in the car and we're driving from Sacramento to Bottom of the Hill in San Francisco to go see Let Live. Hang on, guys. Just everybody, you're going to salivate and shit your pants a little bit. Let Live was the headliner. Architects was the main support. Then we had Glass Cloud, which is Josh Travis's band with the singer from Sky Eats Airplane. If you guys remember that band, super good. And then I didn't know who I the Mighty was. They were the opener. So I'm just like, holy shit. So on the way there, we're just like listening to I the Mighty, because you don't listen to the headliner or the main bands when you're on the way to the concert. That's an unspoken rule or whatever. Anyway, we were listening to the opening band, and that was the first song I heard. And we were all just kind of like, what is this? Like a car full of people. By the end of that song, we were all singing Hearts and Spades. And just, we drove in, I just remember driving across the bridge, driving in, just doing the whole thing. And like every time I listen to that acoustic album, I just think back to that time and, how amazing everything was and how happy life was. We didn't have
Bottom of the Hill is great too.
Yeah, they're closing.
Yeah. Slim closed a couple of years ago. Bottom of the Hill makes sense. I mean, I don't like it, but everything's closing.
Yeah. I'd rather, I guess I'd rather close in like Live Nation or somebody come in and ruin it. But you took out I the Mighty Like, I think I knew that you guys played together, but you took them out. Like, how
It
long ago was
a
that?
UK tour,
Oh.
so I don't think it was here. Yeah,
I know.
2017 maybe. I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but yeah, probably around then.
Yeah, because that was probably that sounds about right. Because that they started blowing up right around 16, 17 because they put out that the Connector, was that the album? They put out one of their most popular albums, and then they put out one more album after that, and that's when they kind of took hiatus, and the things happened, and that we don't talk about, and just the songwriting of Brent and the band, like in general, is just amazing. Like the fact that they're playing some of those things and singing them, Brent singing and playing some of those technical riffs and some of the things, and like Blake, their drummer, one of the best drummers in my opinion. Dude was so insane with those guys, and it was always such a good time. I think I got to see them like, I don't know, that whole 8 years I lived in Sacramento, I probably saw them 12 times. I loved them so much. So that's awesome. You got to go out with them, man.
Yeah, it was a short little thing. If I'm remembering correctly, I think it was why I think it was 2017, because that would have been our 10th anniversary of the Walking Wounded, and we did some shows here, and we did some shows in the UK, if I'm remembering correctly. Because I know we brought a band called Potty Mouth out here and I think I the Mighty was the UK opener. Getting old, don't really remember a lot of stuff.
I like how so much of our conversation has revolved around like UK, London, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is that where your heart is, Nick?
I mean, musically, yeah. I mean, any new band that I've like fallen in love with for a while is just usually from there.
You were correct. You played December 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th in the UK with I the Mighty.
Yeah, there you go. I still got it. I didn't totally lose my mind yet.
Yeah, almost just running right up there to the 2018. That's really cool, man. I don't think I think I'd seen that you guys played maybe a couple of gigs together in the States, but I didn't know you guys actually did a little run. Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't remember if we actually played with them here or not. That I do not remember. Doesn't ring a bell.
Well, you guys wail. They wail. I would have loved to have been in the front row, hammered drunk with my tuxedo T-shirt on. All right, so. All right, Nick, it's time. Oh no, it's Mike's turn. We almost skipped Mike. Usually,
wow.
Wait, Mike did go. Wait, did Mike did go?
Yeah, Mike. Wow.
See,
you
this is what
changed up
happens.
the order.
Yeah,
you changed up the order. You are now wrapping things up at the very end.
Mike, you'll love this.
Who put a question mark in the teleprompter?
But that's what's funny is I was reading off of the notes and still screwed it up. The notes are right, and I still screwed it up. So shame on me. But
we're going back to Nick though.
It's time for your second choice, man.
All right. My favorite band, that is a massive band for sure, The Killers, and their song called Shot at the Night. What a line. That line right at the end gives me chills every time. Yeah, I mean, you see the videos in Vegas, so it's hard not to think of that song. The Killers, for me, for sure, my favorite big band. I've spent a lot of money seeing them play at arenas and festivals, and even at the beginning of last year, they were celebrating the 20th anniversary of Hot Fuss, and I went to see them 3 times they were doing like a small residency at Caesar's Palace. Spent a lot of money doing that because it was like the best show I ever saw in my life. It was so damn good, in like a 5,000 seat theater. So that song, yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm a little like kindred spirit with Vegas. Anyone who knows me is like, how do you like Vegas? Because I'm like kind of chill and whatever. I really do think that I'm like I'm very like connected to surroundings, and when I'm in Vegas, I just feel the general like levity of people who want to have a good time, and I really feel like I'm just always like, man, life could be good, like life could be good if everyone's just in a good mood and having fun all the time. Like you just kind of pick up on the general sense of the crowd there. Vegas obviously has a whole shady side to it too. I don't pick up on that stuff. But the Killers, I mean, seeing them in Vegas, like I said, I saw them 3 times at Caesar's Palace last year. I saw them on the first Life is Beautiful festival, which I think that song had just come out that first Life is Beautiful festival happened. Yeah, I mean, I love, how much they lean on new wave and kind of just rock in general. So that song does both for me, where I know you guys have brought up with other songs about like time and place in your life. The Killers, just because they sing about it, they have an album called Battleborn, like they represent Vegas pretty well, but like also going to Vegas around when that song had just come out, and going to, like I said, that Life is Beautiful festival with my buddy, and just spending a weekend there. And just one of those things where I'm like, we still talk about that weekend, it was just the two of us, two single dudes, like in Vegas drinking and going to see, like, we saw Haim back then. And I'm talking about like 15 years ago at this point, band called Cults, Vampire Weekend. Like, it was just such a good time. And, it's just one of those things, again, like I said earlier, just like seeing a band in their hometown, you just can't beat it.
So whenever they finally get a Sphere show, how much are you willing to spend to go?
I mean, I'm gonna say it's gonna be $1,000 minimum, starting bid. But it's one of those things where I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna feel like life is worth living, and I'm gonna be like, all right, so when's the second show I'm going to?
Do I have to go back outside and wait, or can I just buy a ticket and stay here?
Yeah. Like me and my lady for those Caesar's Palace shows last year, we went on like a Wednesday, and it blew my mind. And I went alone the following Wednesday. Because I was like, I can't stop thinking about it. I have to go again. So I went alone to Vegas, saw the show again, and then they announced like more dates months later, and I've got us 2 more tickets. So we went 3 more times, or we went 3 times. Well, I went 3 times, she went twice, and it was just, I mean, it was there. I don't know how much money I spent, but whatever it was worth it.
I love that you talked about like when you're in Vegas and feeling the fun and feeling the good vibes off of it. I love that too. I just think the desert has like this healing power. Like I'm not some like shaman, like nothing like that, right? Like,
are you?
All right, hippie,
or anything like that. But like, I don't know, man. Whenever I need to get away, I go to Joshua Tree or I go to Vegas, and I just have I have a great time. I have some drinks or whatever, but like, I just genuinely enjoy my life. Like, there's no worries. Everything else is blocked out. I'm not thinking about the crazy politic bullshit that's going on. I'm thinking about, I'm going to have a great time with people I care about. And I'm also pretty lucky because I'm not from the West Coast at all. I'm from Southern Illinois, but with the exception of like Mike over here, I've gotten to go to Las Vegas with every one of my closest friends at some point in time. And it's always the most uplifting, magical experience. So I completely align with what you say there.
It's just, and I'm sure there's other places like that in the world, but I mean, it's when your surroundings affect you in a positive way, like, you definitely have to take note of it. And I've always had a good time in Vegas. Bayside shows very early in our career were great in Vegas before other bands had good shows in Vegas. We were doing 700, 800 people in like 2006, 2007. And when we would tell Anne Berlin or our friends, be like, yeah, we're huge in Vegas, they're like, we don't even play Vegas, let alone being huge. So, I mean, now that, there's the Punk Rock Museum there, they did When We Were Young Festival there. I'm like, I turned 30 there. When I still lived in New York, I'm like, I'm going to Vegas for my 30th birthday. It's just a place that, to me, I've had just some of the best times of my life there. And it all has to do with just levity and lightheartedness, like being around other people, even if you're not hanging out with them, if you're around other people who are having fun, like, it's just something that, like, for sure affects me and I pick up on and just lightens my mood for sure.
You guys were at the first When We Were Young, right?
First and third.
Yeah. So the first one, when the windstorm happened, and everything like that, you guys played a pop-up show, right?
Yeah, that was that whole day was just, hey, speaking of all the good things that happened in Vegas, that was a terrible day because it's something that so many people, including us, were looking forward to, because the whole thing with When We Were Young being announced and people thought it was fake and all of this, just whatever. They were like, oh, this is a fake flyer and it's not really happening, all this stuff. And it just seemed like the entire emo roster was put together to have a special moment. So leading up to that, everyone's looking forward to it. People are flying in from all over the world to go to it. And it's a one-day festival. And the first one got canceled. So we were running into people who are like, I came from Australia, I came from Germany, and I don't have a ticket for tomorrow and all this stuff. So it was truly heartbreaking. And then like for us to not play sucks, but like for people to have spent thousands of dollars traveling the world to go there and have no way to see the show the next day, because it's not a 2-day festival, it's a 1-day festival. It was just the same lineup the next day. So we were like, everyone, a bunch of bands were trying to figure out how to play shows, and all of our friends' bands were just like, yeah, let's do it. And then managers get involved and booking agents get involved, and everything goes to shit because like no one wants to play under other bands or over other bands, or what venue could we do things at and whatever. So we were talking to all our friends. We were like, dude, this is going to be the best we can do. You know, like there's 70,000 people who have nothing to do tonight, and there's going to wind up being a couple of shows that people could go to. So truly we had given up because no one could agree on, you know, the political side of who's playing over who and all this stuff. Just total like bureaucratic dumb bullshit. So I'm like, I can't believe how this day went. Like, we're not playing the festival. Now we're not playing a sideshow. And then at like 4:45 p.m., we had figured out, you know, we had gotten a last minute offer from like my buddy who works at PBR. Be like, we could do a show here, 300 cap place called the Sandal or something. I'm like,
Sandal, yeah.
I was like, dude, 300 people. Like, it's a free show too. It's sponsored by PBR, so it's like they're paying for the bands and stuff like that. And I'm like, 300 people. There's like tens of thousands of people who have nothing to do tonight, and we're gonna let 300 people. I'm like, this sounds like a disaster. And the show was like, you know, the show could have done, especially because no one had anything to do that night, that show could have done like 15,000 people if we had a venue to play. Because it was us, Census Fail, Thursday. Anthony Green, I think, played. I don't know if Motion City was on. I don't remember. But like, I don't know. We showed up and there was thousands of people waiting in line, and it just made me even more upset. Because I'm like, there's thousands of people who just lost out on their second show today, you know. So like the whole day was just like a bummer for me. Like there was no way that I would have felt good at the end of the day. Like, not only worrying about like the money we lost, I'm like, that was secondary compared to like how many thousands of people just had a bad day because of wind. And you know what? And people are like, how windy could it possibly be? I'm like, yo, it was very bad. Like, very bad.
So I woke up that morning. I was in Vegas for that. I was there for both days, but I woke up that morning, looked at my phone, and like almost like right as I looked at my phone, the text message hit my phone saying, hey, it's, you know, canceled, wind advisory or whatever. I was like, what? So I went and looked out my window of my hotel, and I saw a massive like you know, tent or whatever, like merch tent basically. It wasn't from
Easy Up.
Yeah, just flipping down the street, like poles just going everywhere. I'm like, oh God, okay, yeah, this should be canceled. So, and then even the next day, whenever I bought tickets for both days, even the next day, the speakers that were hanging for the main stages, they were blowing like crazy. I was like, this probably still isn't safe on day 2.
Yeah.
So
it was a little rough.
But I was in line for your show. I was trying to remember the whole time what the name of the venue was, but I was in line for the show and didn't get to go. But but it was you guys, Anthony Green, Census Fail, and Thursday. Yes,
gotcha.
That was But I ended up getting wasted with the Story of the Year guys that night. Like, do we need to throw an allegedly in there? I don't know, but we got torn down, and it was with all things that happened. It was just so cool to like go to all these bars and party with just a bunch of emo kids.
Yeah, right.
And everybody was like, everybody's just singing anyway. They're like taking over jukeboxes and singing, and
most of it, you know.
People had never met, just hugging and singing and drinking, having the time of their life. So you know, it sucks that all happened, but I still picked up some pretty cool experiences. Even
I think that's you know, hopefully at the end of the day, most people did. You know, there's shit luck for sure, but what can you do?
Yeah, I just remember standing in line being like, I see Bayside. No, I'm not. There was like the longest line I think I've ever seen for people waiting for a concert. So.
Seriously, especially being free, like no joke. I think that could have done 15,000 people if it was possible.
No kidding, dude. And there was like 5 or 6 shows that were spread across. And I remember like there was one that Dan from Story was texting me about. He was like, dude, you're going to die if this happens. We're talking right now. And I was like, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say that. It doesn't matter now. But
I mean, we were talking to them too. It's just like all of our friends' bands. Like if it was up to us, we all would have played together. And then
the Glassjaw Story of the Year potential, did you?
I don't remember Glassjaw, but I remember being with Adam and his wife that day, like eating tacos, being like, we got to figure out how to play. We got to figure out how to play. And we were just sitting at lunch being like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. There was almost a Story of the Year Glassjaw pop-up show. I would have died. Dude, awesome stuff. Steve, you ready for your next selection?
Yeah. So yeah, to kind of harken on what Nick was just saying, I fully agree with the Killers. I got to see them at a Point Fest where Wolf Mother opened for them, and they had flown Wolf Mother in just for this show, and so they're flipping keyboards over, like just a great way to go into the Killers, which we're doing.
They're Australia, right?
I think so. I think Wolf Mother is.
Yeah.
And then so they were the Killers were on the Samstown tour at that time, and I put that album up here. I love Battleborn. Battleborn's also another one of my favorites of theirs, but I mean, Samstown was phenomenal. They put on one hell of a show. So to that, yes, I agree. But my second song, we're talking about big bands. Let's go with another artist who is very big right now. This is Noah Kahan with Stick Season.
No longer funny, cause I miss the way you laugh. You once called me forever, now you still can't call me back. And I love.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that song will make you think of Vermont, but also it's kind of got the idea of, stick season being, that time between fall and winter where there's literally nothing there and it's just desolate, and that depression is like saying hi to you from the other side. But yeah, that's one thing I like about Noah Kahan, especially going from the first 2 albums that he had, Busy Head and I Am. They're kind of poppier albums that he did, and then this one he wrote during COVID, and I mean he mentions that he can't travel because there's COVID on the planes in a song. So yeah, it's just not only does it remind me of places like Vermont and things like that, but especially the Midwest where I'm from. I picture that when I hear that song. I just think about here, and it's a good time, good song, good album, good man.
Yeah, I love the new album, and I love that album.
Yeah,
that album is great, incredible. But I never thought of it that way. But you're right. I guess I never put together the stick season as like that time of the season, of the year when that's really cool. I don't know why I didn't put that together. I'm stupid, but he reminds me of William Fitzsimmons.
I can see that.
And William Fitzsimmons is one of my favorite like acoustic folk artists, and I have a playlist that's just nothing but William Fitzsimmons and Noah Kahan songs, and it's like one of my. It's crazy how something can sound so like somber and maybe depressed. It makes me feel so uplifted and good though when I listen to it. So
I hadn't actually I know of him as a person and a musician. I have never heard him, so that was my first time hearing him.
Yeah, he writes like this album especially was his love letter to New England, basically, because that's pretty much where he lives now. I think that's where he grew up as well. But yeah, like this new album he recorded at the Long Pond Studios where Taylor Swift did Folklore, I think it was, and she did a Disney thing with that as well. And I don't know what it is about that studio, but it brings out some of the best work in the artists that record there. Like the new album that he put out is just, it's hard to put into words, honestly. It's a great album.
No one had mentioned to me that I should listen to him until recently, and it is about that new record. So
yeah, it's good place to dive in if you were going to start, just kind of work your way back, because what you're hearing now is the new side of him, where the first 2 albums, like I said, a little more poppy, little more indie pop, but still good nonetheless.
I just know him because I feel like he likes to pander to the crowd the way I do, where he wears hockey jerseys of like where he is. I'm like, oh, I like doing that. I get it.
And he's actually a good person too. That's helpful.
The tour that they're on, that he's doing right now, they're making little patches, like iron-on patches for every stop of the tour, and they all like incorporate something with the city. They're pretty neat.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah, that new album is in the runnings for my album of the year. So that, the new Don Broco, and the Football Head album, those three are the very top of my list. All so different, but still.
Yeah.
Man, Steve, that I'll tell you, man. I just this past weekend I was in the San Bernardino National Forest. I was out there with my dog. We were up in the mountains. We just had ourselves a nice, relaxing weekend. All I did was listen to Thrice and Noah Kahan and William Fitzsimmons. That was it. It was my soundtrack pretty much for the whole time. When I was doing the little hikes right around my my cabin, I had my AirPod in one of my ear and I was just listening. But I was on my big hikes. There's rattlesnakes and I don't try to screw with that. But pretty much the entire time, except when I was on the big hikes, I was listening to Thrice and Noah Kahan and William Fitzsimmons. So love that you added this one, man. Good ad. Good damn ad. Mike, did I get the order right? I did it.
You did it. I know this is new, but good job. Good job.
I'm growing up. I'm getting all grown up, guys. I'm an adult.
For my next pick, I'm going with Death Cab for Cutie, Soul Meets Body.
There we go.
I cannot guess what you discover.
What a hook. What a hook right there, man. God, I love that.
So these guys are from literally my neck of the woods. I found that out after moving up here. I'm from Southern California, but I recently moved up to Northern Washington, a couple hours up from Seattle. And these guys are from the same city I'm in. And it really reminds me of the place where I'm at. It's cheerful vibes, whimsy, slow paced, very chill. And that song kind of emanates that vibe and that whole entire feeling of where I'm at and where I'm at location wise. So Bellingham gets the shout out for where this reminds me of. That song.
Man, I didn't know there are bands from there.
Yeah. I knew for sure they were Seattle or Washington or, outside of Seattle. But for me personally, just that record is like, reminds me of Tour because it was when that album came out, I don't know if we were still traveling in a van or a bus, but I just remember everyone. It's one of those moments in time being in a band where you're like, oh, everything just changed because that record was so good and it was like so inspiring. And how do we attempt to do our own version of like that sort of thing? Like like everything has changed. And that song and that record was definitely something that happened to us on tour where we're like, you guys got it. You have to hear this.
Yeah, it's saying 2005 is when that one dropped.
So yeah, we would have been still in a van. So that's something we probably, put on our old school iPods and we're like, all right, record's over, play it again.
Cassette adapter,
Totally.
The cable wears out, and you have to wrap it around and like damn it.
You gotta wedge the MP3 player into like a crevice in the dash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I honestly haven't listened to that album forever, but as soon as that hook hit, I was like, God, it brought me back. I've never been to Bellingham, Washington, but it brought me back to Bellingham, Washington, Mike. I was right there next to you.
Brought me back.
I was looking you right in your eyes. We were sharing a plate of pasta. It was wonderful.
All right. Were you guys doing
same noodle though? Same noodle.
Yes.
It's all just one noodle. When you get one noodle. Where they are on tour right now too.
They got saw that they had. Yeah.
They have a big show coming up in October.
A big show?
Yes. It's at Ohio Stadium. A sold out Ohio Stadium.
Who are they playing with?
21 Pilots.
Oh. Hey. I should have known where this is going. I don't know why I just did all that. Steve is the biggest 21 Pilots fan that I've ever met. And it's commendable.
Now, how you are with Wolf Alice, I am with 21 Pilots.
That's great. I remember our friend Adam. He used to work at Fueled by Ramen Records, and whenever 21 Pilots signed there, I remember just walking with him, and he was like, "Yeah, we just signed this band called 21 Pilots. Are like really big in Columbus." And I'm like, "Oh, cool! Like, can't wait to check them out." And I mean, that's the story. They were just like a really big local band, and then, it's kind of one of those things where like that's the genius of an A&R person or someone who finds local talent to be like, this isn't just like a band that could be this big. This is a band that if we give them the right amount of money and time, can really be a huge thing, and that's certainly one of their success stories.
I remember the first thing that I ever thought when I saw like a video with them. I was like, "Where's the rest of you?" There's only two people. I was.
Who are you?
Oh man, that's awesome. Another round of great picks. So just remind everybody that's listening, you guys can click the link in the show notes and you can listen to this playlist. So make sure you do that. And this is where Wiley throws in his second choice of the day. I think this one, everybody's going to connect to. This is arguably one of the biggest rock bands ever, especially in the last 26, 27 years. But this is Linkin Park with Place for My Head.
I'm so sick of the tension, sick of the hunger, sick of you acting like I owe you this. Find another place to feed your greed while I find a place to rest. I'm so sick of the tension.
This song, so the first song I played was like my memories and how I felt. It took me back to Northern California and just all the good feelings that came out. This song reminds me of being like a 14, 15-year-old kid, 16-year-old kid riding in my friend's car. He had a brand new at the year green Ford Mustang, and we just thought it was all the coolest thing. Listen, Nick, when I say I grew up in small town Illinois, like you can go pet a cow, like just, you can just walk in any direction and run into a cornfield, so just
I was gonna say we weren't just touching grass, we were touching corn, brother.
Yeah,
soybeans.
An ex-girlfriend I had lived outside of Dayton.
Okay, yeah,
Germantown, maybe I want to say it was called something like that. So I've seen that part of Ohio for sure.
Yeah, so about 2 hours from St. Louis in the Southern Illinois part, and like what you did with your friends is you just all piled in a car and you drove around, you listened to music, you drove through cornfields, whatever. If you could get some booze, you did that too. Whatever you could do, allegedly.
Road sodies.
One of my best friends, he was in high school, like sophomore year. He was 7 foot tall, top to bottom, like it was insane. So he always had to have shotgun. I always rode in the back, and my friend James was always driving, and we'd always turn that song on. That was the first song. That was a song to set the mood for the evening. And it was especially fun because we'd all like mouth the musical parts, like doom, 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 doom. And my friend Brian, the 7 foot tall guy, he'd always do the wiki, 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 wiki. And then James would go dum, dum. And we would just do that to get psyched up and excited to drive through Heron, Illinois, and drive through some cornfields, go out to the old Lake Number 2 and dick around or whatever we were trying to get ourselves into mischief. But Brian passed away, unfortunately. The 7 foot tall guy, he passed away, and that was like something that we all carried forward. Like even at his funeral, everything afterwards, that was the song. Like that was the song we always came back to. And it's not something that any of us ever look back to in sadness. We literally look back to that song because that was like where we all came together. We're like, this is the song. This is what's going to set our night. This is what's going to make this memorable forever. So
yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another one. I mean, I definitely don't want to repeat myself, but that like Linkin Park, and I want to put like Incubus in that kind of category for bands in the late 90s, early 2000s. You started to hear bands like Incubus and Linkin Park on the radio, and you're like, we're so close. Like our bands are so close to being on the radio. And then, then it actually happened with My Chem and Blink and Paramore and all that stuff. But like you just heard, like we mentioned Glassjaw earlier, the first time I heard Incubus, I was like, oh, Glassjaw's fucked. Incubus beat them to the punch, like, you might not think they totally sound the same at all, but like, Pardon Me, when you know what Glassjaw sounds like, and then you hear Pardon Me, you're like, oh boy, okay, someone beat Glassjaw to the punch here.
Yeah. Worship and Tribute especially sounds like something that would have been like, Very airy and vibey. So
yeah. So Linkin Park, I mean, just having the heaviness and kind of breakdowns and stuff like that. I'm like, oh man, like hardcore is so close to being on the radio.
It's funny that you bring that up because it was the new metal thing that really started driving it that way. You had your, I don't mean this offensively, but you had your kind of caveman knuckle dragging kind of new metal that would come out, right? Like just 4 on the floor, everything heavy that way. And then you had stuff that's actually started being a little progressive, like your Incubus, like your Deftones. I get annoyed when people call them new metal, but Deftones, right? Like the Papa Roach, right? Household name now. What a ridiculous name to come out and actually get played on the radio in 2000, right? Like Linkin Park, even with the funky spelling. But I guess Linkin Park can thank Korn for that, right? Do we give the credit to Korn with the use of the K?
I never thought of that, but yeah.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, Linkin Park never did the backwards K though, right? Like they never did the struck out swinging. So
Struck out.
Baseball,
that
guys.
album in itself, between that and Slipknot's Iowa, I don't know how many times I've mentioned him a few times. Mutual friend James Neff. We used to climb out of his bedroom. We used to climb out of his bedroom window, sit on the overhang of a porch of his house, and we'd be like, "Man, let's start a band. I'll do the." He's like, "I'll do the Chester the screams, and you just sing like Mike." And that's it. Then we went into Slipknot. He's like, I think I can get some friends, and we could start a band like Slipknot. I go, do we have 90 friends?
I just remember when Iowa came out, I was like, this is the heaviest, craziest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. That's especially when they started getting the maggot talk and everything too. I was like, what is happening? Sorry, go ahead,
If
Mike.
you had to choose a household object to hit with the bat to be in a band, like what instrument would you pick?
Sink.
Like a steel sink?
And just pull a kitchen sink out. Clang. It's a good sound. I mean, when you drop like a fork or something in the sink and it just clangs around, there it is. Boom.
Drop a fork in the garbage disposal. That's my instrument right there. Fork in the
Nick,
garbage disposal.
Do you need a couple members? You need a couple other members for Bayside?
Yeah.
We play Mean Sink.
At the end of the summer. We could use some auxiliary sounds.
Perfect. I do know how to play the electric triangle, so hit me up.
Is there like a rubber holder at the top of it to keep you from getting shocked?
I just wrap a lot of wiring around a triangle and plug it into an outlet.
It's a spicy triangle.
What was that show?
I get one note out of it.
What was that show that was on Spike for a lot of years, like after WWF? 1,000 Ways to Kill Yourself or 1,000 Ways to Die or whatever.
1,000 Ways to Die.
We just found one. Put it on the list.
No. Add it to the list.
Oh goodness. Oh man, I actually lost track of where we're at. That was hilarious. I chose the last song. Nick, take it away. It's good when I get lost. That means we're having a good time.
It's Nick's last pick.
Nick.
Yeah, this one might have been hard for you to find, but extremely local band, a band I was in after the movie life, a band called Silent Majority, and the song's called Taming the L Word. Yeah, that was, at that point in my life, that was like 1997. I want to say that record came out. I had been going to local shows for 2 or 3 years. There was nothing more important to me than that band. Playing bass and stuff because of California bands, but then finding my local scene and getting to know a couple of like local bands and stuff like that. The absolute top of the heap was that band, Silent Majority. And when we started Movie Life, we were for sure trying to do our take on the Silent Majority sound. And when Vinny Caruana tried out for the Movie Life, I was like, oh, he kind of sounds like the singer Silent Majority a little bit. Like, that's great. Like, I think we'll get a lot of fans just kind of sounding like Silent Majority a little bit. So then Silent Majority needed a bass player, and I was like friendly with their guitar player and the guitar player's brother. So I was like literally a senior in high school, and I was just like, hey, like if you need a bass player, I know I'm young, because everyone else was like 23, 24 in the band. I'm like, I know I'm young, but like I'm graduating high school this summer. I could totally go on tour. You guys are my favorite band. So I wound up being in that band from right after that record came out, basically. Like that, a couple months later or something, I was in the band we broke up in like 2001 or so. So I recorded on one 5-song EP with them, late 90s, early 2000s, I want to say. And got to do a couple tours with them. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing, being in Bayside is a blessing and I love it, but like Silent Majority existing meant so much to me, and the fact that I was able to play in the band for a couple of years was amazing. And there's just nothing you could ask anyone from Long Island who's into hardcore or emo or anything. There's no better or bigger band than Silent Majority. I mentioned Koyo earlier. Like they're definitely that, like part of that, the forefront of that Long Island, younger Long Island bands that kind of starting to sound like Silent Majority a little bit, which is awesome because Silent Majority never really, like, we did a couple of tours, but it was pre-internet. It was like pre-streaming music. If you knew who Silent Majority was in San Francisco in 1998, you were one of 10 people, like that. It was really hard to get word out back then. So we really existed right before like the internet and like social community on the internet was a thing. So the band's back around. They do like a couple of reunion shows every year. I've only been able to be a part of one in like 2016, and I've seen them a couple times. I just can't ever. It kills me. It like truly kills me that I can't commit to like doing any of the reunion shows. They're doing another one in August that I also can't make. Which, I mean, every year they do a reunion show. I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, I see. Last year they did one with the movie Life.
Yeah. So yeah, it's great. I think maybe 2 years ago was the last time I got to see them. But yeah, my somehow whenever they want to do it, my schedule is always just so wacky. And like Bayside's going to be in the studio here when they're doing that next reunion show, and I was like, I can't screw up. Yeah, I can't screw up the studio right now. Yeah, so. There's I mean, that's the most Long Island like sound, it's so specific to me because I feel like I've never heard anyone attempt to sound like that unless they're from Long Island. So it means a lot to me. I think it's a very specific sound. It's like this kind of like emo-y pop, not
core
poppy,
post,
like emo core, like there's a punk influence to it for sure. Extremely DIY. Yeah, it's just, to me, when I was like learning who I was, like as far as not only musician but what I liked, there couldn't have been a more perfect band than like basically a hardcore ethos band that was catchy. Like it was aggressive and catchy, and that album front to back, 10 songs, I want to say, like unskippable tracks, just moment in time, absolutely a place. That place is Long Island. It's a real special band.
That's really cool. Is that on streaming?
I think everything's on streaming.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll absolutely.
Yeah, I just looked up Silent Majority to make sure, so I can add it to the playlist. Yeah. And yeah, it's on there. It's on.
Don't accidentally add the Switzerland band because there's a Switzerland band.
Oddly enough, it was actually when I pulled up, it shows the bio and it says a Swedish hip hop group. I'm like, that doesn't sound like that.
I was gonna say like something that kind of caught my ear, like when we were listening to that. I'm gonna obviously listen to more, and I could be way off base here, but it reminds me of like a little bit heavier, more raw, Sunny Day Real Estate.
Yeah, definitely. What's
like,
funny
not
is like,
that you sound like them, but like,
no, I mean it's one of those things, blessing and a curse. Like when we were touring back in the day, like everyone on Long Island knew who we were, but when we would play anywhere outside of kind of the tri-state area, like New York, like Jersey, Pennsylvania, the flyer would just say like Silent Majority from New York sounds like Lifetime, and we're like, no, we don't. But it's like the closest thing was that we sounded like early Lifetime. Like when you ask people what Lifetime sound like, it's just pop punk, right? But before that was what Silent Majority sounded like. Like you listen to the first couple of Lifetime releases, that's what Silent Majority sounded like. So when we would get referenced as them, people thought we were going to sound like Lifetime or Saves the Day or something, like 3-chord fast punk, which we definitely didn't sound like. But it it was just one of those things. It was truly hard to pigeonhole the band sound wise, which was a blessing and a curse. I think it made it special to people who got it, but then there were people who just didn't get it, And honestly, like, I think I'm in my second band now, because that's the same thing with Bayside, where it's like so uniquely us, where you get it and you love it, or you just don't get it. So yeah.
That's exactly what I was sitting here thinking. I'm like, man, you really think about it. The three bands that I know that you've been in, just hearing a little bit of Silent Majority, you're in bands that are kind of hard to put into a specific genre. I mean, it crosses several. Like,
it's tough to. The thing that like has always, especially early in our career, Bayside wise, like we just didn't know who to play with. We wound up touring with bands like Silverstein and Hawthorne Heights because they were also on Victory Records, but we didn't sound like them. So, and we weren't like punk enough back then to play with Alkaline Trio or the Descendants or whatever, or Bad Religion, Bouncing Souls. Like, we would have gained more back then if we could tour with those bands, but it didn't really work until, to this day, we still kind of do our own thing. We just got off tour with Taking Back Sunday, which is like the first time in 9 years we've opened for somebody. So it's a blessing and a curse. Like, I love doing our own thing, but it's so clear, especially 26 years into our career, that there's so many people who don't know who we are. And I think that we need to play in front of new people, not because we like don't appreciate where we are, but I'm like, there's a lot of people out there who should like us. So like opening for Taking Back Sunday, and you hear people being like, I never even heard you until I saw you were opening. And then I listened to you and just saw you for the first time, and I'm blown away. I'm like, if that's happening right now with like grown adults, I'm like, we need to do this more, straight up. Like, we need to be able to play in front of other people's fans. So
I really thought that's what the last album was. I thought it was you guys trying to not to sell out or whatever weirdos on the internet try to say, but like, it definitely had a little bit of a different sound. Like, even vocally, some of the approaches I heard, like, this isn't what Bayside does.
To really simplify it, it's just like, we can't keep doing the same exact thing over and over, but we want to stay true to who we are. So it's like, our influences are what you're hearing now, like the heavier and the more metal stuff is definitely like Chris and Jack, like stuff they listen to. And we just try to find a way to write Bayside songs that have different influences that clearly sound like Bayside. Like, I say this all the time, and I apologize, this isn't the first time I'm saying it on a podcast, but like, the easiest thing to do for a band who wants to like improve or change their sound or whatever is to just do something totally different. And I think that's like the biggest cop out, because we could go write a Taylor Swift album tomorrow, like we could go write a ska album tomorrow. We could go write the most emo album you ever heard tomorrow. The harder road to take is to make Bayside sound the same but different, like, and that's the road that we've been taking for honestly almost, I guess 2019 when Interrobang came out. That was the first time we were like, what else can Bayside be? Not like who else could Bayside be, but like, what else could this be where our fans will be interested and know that we're not like selling out doesn't make sense, because it's not like, there's success, there's a pot of gold at the end of changing your sound, like, that's just not really like, it's such a weird term at this point, because I've only actually seen one sellout in my life, and I don't even like sellout band in my life, and I don't even mean this in a bad way, but like Fall Out Boy completely changed their sound and got bigger. So it's like, okay, that's what they did, but it worked. The bad part about selling out is when you change your sound and it doesn't work, then you're sellout.
I remember when Interrobang came out, and I was just like, oh, what are we going for here? I like this. And then was it the last album, there are worse things than being alive. I was like, all right, boys, all right, I like this. I like this. The Cult is getting better. The Cult is changing. The Cult is doing this. Speaking of, I'm just gonna pull the Band-Aid off. The Cult. What's we need to know the story. I've seen it for so long. I remember going to a Warped Tour and seeing you guys, Cult in the background.
Yeah.
What's the story?
Everything between that tagline and our bird logo is like fully just fan owned, like our that bird logo is, I think it's in our first record, like a part of the wallpaper or something like that. Before I was in the band, the tour before I joined the band, they had thrown it on a shirt, and we were going through the old merch when I joined the band, and I'm like, we should have a logo, like the best selling shirt looked like a softball shirt. It just said Bayside in like script. And I'm like, this is literally looks like a softball team, and like Bayside is a city. Like this isn't band merch,
Yeah.
And then we pulled out this black shirt with like the font from the record, and the bird logo was printed on the side because that's what you did in 2004.
The
And I
old
was like,
side print.
I was like, let's this should be our logo, So we ran with it, and that was just like something that like we, like the Misfits or something. It's like we want to be synonymous with like a logo. So
You see that logo, you know what band it is.
yeah, I mean, at this point, like we just did a whole ass tour where it probably would have been beneficial for our banner to say Bayside on it, but we didn't do it. It was just the bird logo. So it's one of those things. It's people get it tattooed, and Bayside as a cult, honestly, is just because even in 2004, 5, we just didn't have a lot of fans. So it was like. We were playing to 200 people who were freaking out, but we wanted to play in front of 1,000 people who were freaking out. But that took a long time to do,
Your fans are fans. Like, so I think that's always worked as far as like the cult thing. And it also works because I could play some of my favorite bands, and if they released a brand new song and nobody told me they released a brand new song, they just hit play, I could probably figure out who it was pretty quickly. But you guys, I can tell the first note.
Yeah,
vocally or guitar, like it doesn't matter. I just know it's your songs, and you guys, like you're talking about, like just an image that represents your band. People just know your sound also does that. So that kind of, in my opinion, for the way my brain works, is that's exactly why you have such hardcore fans. They just identify with your music so quickly.
To this day, 26 years in, it's a blessing and a curse. It's the reason we have all of our fans, and it's a reason why there are a lot of people just don't get it either, so it's always, we're paralleled to the emo scene and the Warped Tour scene, and the whatever, when we were young, the whole genre, we're constantly running parallel to it, and we'll dip our toe in there every once in a while, but like we have so little in common with all of our contemporaries because we don't sound like anybody. We weren't bigger 25 years ago than we are now. So like we are in this era of like everyone's celebrating their big records from 2004, 5, 6. And we don't really have that luxury because although our second and third record are our most successful records, they weren't big records. Like we're not like, they're not Ocean Avenue. They're not Page Avenue. They're not Three Cheers. They're not Misery Below, whatever, Riot. Like they are nowhere near the success of those records. So when all of these bands get to do their 20th anniversary on their biggest record because they were huge 20 years ago, we don't get to do that. And it's that kind of has guided our career because we've always had to have like the carrot dangling in front of us is like, how do we do the next record? How do we do the next tour? Like we are not successful enough to take 2 years off and write a record we like. We have to always keep the fans that we have and go see them on tour. So for 25 years, all we did was write a record, tour on it, write a record, tour on it. And, it's kind of been about survival the entire time. We're luckily more successful than we've ever been, but that cycle of like write a record and go tour on it is still what we have to do. Like we had the opportunity last year to celebrate being a band for 25 years, but the idea wasn't like, let's go play, because our self-titled record with Devotion and Desire and Blame It on Bad Luck, that was also 20 years old last year. But we were just like, why? Like we were playing to 200 people maybe 20 years ago. Like what's there to celebrate? Like we have to celebrate our longevity, and like that's something that like was really important to us. So we didn't want to just do a tour where we played the record and a couple of other songs and then we were done in 90 minutes and we went on to the next city. So people like our new music. We're proud of our new music. We like want to enforce the idea that like we are a band who's still making new music that people like, and the idea for us to play basically 50 songs over the course of 2 nights in every city last year was like something that like we're extremely proud of, because I don't know anyone else could do that. You know, like very few bands, I should say, especially bands of that we grew up with. Again, it's a blessing and a curse. I would have loved to have a platinum record 20 years ago, you know, but we didn't.
Right.
So it's something that like we did last year that was strictly for the fans, you know, like it's in a lot of ways, like behind the scenes, what we did last year hurt us because we played 2 shows. We didn't sell out 2 shows in every city, you know, like it would have been better for our career last year to sell out 1 big show, but we would have played 90% of the same set that we always play with a couple of little treats for fans, you know, but what we decided to do was play 2 nights everywhere, knowing that that's a big ask and that it would be hard for people to afford it. It would be hard for people to come to both shows. But for the people who could do it, we wanted to go out there and play genuinely 50 songs over the course of 2 nights,
Awesome.
which is more than half of our catalog. And yeah, I mean, it made this year really tricky because we were like, we can't play Chicago this year, you know, like we can't play New York. We can't play the major cities we always play this year. We played 2 shows there last year. We expected a lot from people. So this year is all about like different cities, smaller cities. We're working on a record. It's a lot. It's exciting too. I you know, it's really being on our 26th year now. We still have a lot, like we have more opportunities ahead of us than we ever have. So it's like a great feeling. It's a unique position to be in for sure.
So awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome, dude. I've gotten into all kinds of conversations. We have a Discord where we talk back and forth about music, you know, and I remember it's probably like a year and a half ago, we just got a conversation. There's a couple people in our Discord that are just Bayside cult. And then there's some people in there that are like Silverstein cult.
Yeah.
And the Bayside and Silverstein people, sometimes they don't get along. Like, and it's interesting, but they're just like, but the thing about that is those 2 bands, in my opinion, are some of the most hardest working, always touring bands in like the scene. So
yeah. I mean, they're some of our oldest friends, you know, like I think we toured with them last maybe like 13 years ago, I want to say, maybe 14, 15. I was like, I know it was the Take Action tour. I don't remember if it was like 2012 or 2013. Yeah, we talk all the time about eventually figuring out how to do it again. You know, like it's absolutely something that's on the back burner at any given point. Is like, when does it line up for us to do it again?
Be sick.
It'll happen one day for sure.
It's one of those. It's not a no. It's just
yeah,
when.
like it comes up all the time, and you know, it's hard to get everyone's touring schedules to kind of, especially when you're like self-sufficient, like Silverstein and us are. We're constantly doing our own thing, so it's hard to plan when do we team up. It's a difficult thing, but when we do it, it'll be amazing. So one day.
Well, we were all kind of shocked whenever Story of the Year and Silverstein managed to make it happen. So,
Yeah.
And even Census Fail and Story of the Year when that happened. Like,
Yeah.
So that would be so sick, you guys in Silverstein. I'll be there. Dude, what an awesome ad to round out your top 3. Your music, which I'm very excited to dig into. Steve, time for your last pick.
It's kind of ironic because we did just kind of talk about them, ladies and gentlemen. 21 Pilots, Midwest Indigo.
West Indigo, running late, so I didn't have the time. Scrape the frosted windshield like my belly scraping bugs.
I remember, and I've said this story before, so I'll make it short, hated this band with a passion. Their older stuff drove me insane. Could not stand them. Mexico just scored, so it's a good thing. We got 21 Pilots playing. We got Mexico scoring a goal. But now
Steve is fully watching the World Cup right now. as
fully
we're
watching
recording.
World
I
Cup.
get it.
But no, but I gave them a chance and started falling in love with them. And the last 3 albums really thoroughly pulled me in. Their last one, Clancy, well, they had Clancy and Breach, but Clancy sucked me in. And man, I got to see them in St. Louis, and they put on one of the best concerts I've ever seen in my entire life. Got to see them on TV. They did, I don't think it was a Winter Classic, but I think it was just a Stadium Series game with the Columbus Blue Jackets. And I remember watching that and then going online and just seeing people going, who are these people and why aren't they doing Super Bowl halftime shows? This band, like, and it was just like they have that stage presence to them. But yeah, fantastic song. Reminds me of like it's an ode to Ohio, but it also reminds me again of the Midwest here that I deal with. You know, it reminds me of a time when this song came out. It was cold outside. The defrost didn't defrost like it should, so I scraped a little hole in the windshield and went to work. Granted, it's a 3-minute drive, but you know, that 3 minutes was kind of scary.
I'm a little offended. If the Midwest, they're not Midwest. I'm not actually offended.
Technically, Ohio is Midwest.
That's Rust Belt. That's not Midwest. Midwest is further west. Ohio is east. Like, it is east.
It's west.
They're just so unique, you know. Like I'm familiar with some songs. I hadn't heard that song, and at no point during that like 20 or 30 seconds did I know what was going to happen next. And every time it did happen, it was something good. So it's I probably need to listen to them more.
It's the thing with them is it. I mean, granted, they were getting big when I got into it, like started getting into them. They did like a COVID show. Like they did a whole stream for Scaled and Icy. It was fantastic. Granted, I didn't watch it during COVID, but I did go back and watch it. They, but yeah, seeing, you know, a band that just kind of take off the way that they have and be able to sell out one of the biggest college stadiums in college football, 100,000+ capacity, and sells out. And they have one of their favorite bands, their inspiration, Death Cab for Cutie, opening for them. It's pretty neat. It's like you said, you know, getting to see a band in their hometown is pretty cool, especially the way, you know, the path that they've taken.
I'll tell you, dude, like you've been telling me for 2 years now, listen to 20, and I have a playlist and I listen to them at least once a week, Mike. So, Steve, so I appreciate it. Also, Nick, I agree with that particular song. It was kind of, especially watching a video. I don't think I've ever watched the video for that. I've heard the song before, but like the conversation piece, like when he's on the phone, that was actually really cool. Like how they fit that in there.
They did a video for every song on that album.
Cool.
And what was really neat is there's a part in that song which comes next, leading into I think it's the second verse. They do this "What's your ETA?" 2 minutes. That is at every show now. When they're 2 minutes from stage, you just hear 2 minutes play over the PA system, and I remember hearing that. I'm like, did they mean to do that? And then I realized literally it was 2 minutes later they came on stage, and my fiance saw them in Chicago, and they did it there too. So that's pretty neat.
That is awesome, Steve. We can always depend on you for our 21 Pilots fix.
I haven't talked or put them on a playlist in a while.
I'm not mad. I love it. We can always depend on Mike for the midnight. We can always depend on you for our 21 Pilots. And we just get, and then me with some sappy screamo shit. Yeah. We have a thing. All right. And now we will pass it on over to Mike with his third choice.
For my last pick,
Ooh.
I'll be choosing Electric Callboy, Techno Train.
There is a whole new world that you need to explore. It's the sound of the rain.
So I've never been to Germany, but
I
I'm just
was
now
gonna say
gonna.
German.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm just gonna imagine everything sounds like that over there now.
Oh yeah.
Big fan of these guys, but yeah, these guys are full on EDM and rock, a bit comedy rock at times with some of their songs, and then some of their songs are actually serious songs. So they kind of do both right now. They have a new album coming out this year, but that's one of my favorites from them. But yeah, they're full on EDM. So these guys are out of Germany.
That was crazy because I felt like I was trying to like picture where they were from, and I'm like, this sounds like EDM. I could see German, but I didn't hear it being German though.
Yeah, some of their songs they do speak German,
Wow,
which
That's
is great. It's awesome.
They're very much like a emo, screamo, metalcore Steel Panther. Like, it's just like Steel Panther mixed with like, you know, the cool scene
Yeah,
music.
but throw in EDM
Yeah.
at the same time. A lot of their like breakdowns will have just like the craziest synth stuff.
I want to see them live so bad. I just know it'd be the most crazy fucking
Party.
thing ever. Yeah.
Man,
It'd be the biggest party I would love to go. Their tickets are pricey. They
Yeah.
were here recently, and I should have just sold the kidney. I've
Yeah,
got
might as
2
well.
of them, so like I should have just
Fuck
done
it.
it.
They were going to be in Nashville the week after we left, and I was like, does work really matter? Can we just like
Yeah.
find work in Nashville? I'll go work at Third Man Records, hang out with Jack White, and we'll just go see Electric Callboy.
Mhm.
Be a weird thing to be at an Electric Callboy concert and look over at Jack White. What are you doing here, bro? This is not
I'm
your...
sitting there going,
He's like, "This is my favorite band. What are you
I
talking
love,
about?"
I love
They-
these guys.
They inspired Icky Thump, dude.
They helped me create the name White Stripes. It's like, Jack, I don't think that's true. It is.
Oh gosh. I don't know if I can top that one, Mike, but for my last one to close us out, to close this whole damn thing, I talked about, being back home as somebody in high school, and hanging out with my friends and the feelings that came from that with the Linkin Park song. And I talked about NorCal with I the Mighty. This last one is going to be Greek Fire with Break Me Down.
You need to change me, break me down.
So good. It's one of my
I love
favorite
that.
songs.
I love that cut to Ryan's face in the video.
Yeah.
It's just
As
like
soon
the
as it
most, like,
popped up, I was like,
it's like stretched out.
Man, I loved that Greek Fire album, and that song "Break Me Down" is one of my favorite songs ever. I have talked to Moon, Phil, whatever you want to call him. He will be joining us on the podcast later this summer. Really excited about that. But the reason I went with Greek Fire on this one is it just reminds me of the time that I lived in St. Louis. I went and saw Greek Fire play a bunch of times. My band played with Greek Fire a bunch of times. Just always everywhere. And my friends and I would get in the car, my girlfriend at the time, we get in the car and that was the first thing we had to throw on. You guys remember when Apple CarPlay first started, every time you plug in your iPod, it would automatically start playing the first song
Yeah.
that was in your iPod or whatever. Unfortunately, it wasn't Greek Fire. And I love Bad Rabbits. It was a Bad Rabbit song, but every time it was just every time I'd plug it in, you just hear do 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 do, and we'd have to be like, we don't want to hear it again. So she'd always hurry up and scroll and get to Greek Fire's Break Me Down. And it just reminds me of, I remember going to the zoo and just us listening to that. We actually brought a little speaker with us. We're just listening as we're going through the zoo, flipping off the monkeys, typical behavior. Getting drunk at the St. Louis Zoo. That's something you can do.
Going to SeaWorld, taking my pants off.
Starting a fire in somebody's
Allegedly.
yeah, no.
Nah, it happened.
Don't ever hurt the animals, but we would definitely go there listening to Greek Fire, that album, and just get blackout drunk walking around. Because in St. Louis, that's what you do. Nick, you were just in St. Louis, right? You guys were just playing at Ballpark Village?
Yeah. Exactly. That's the most I think I've ever done in St. Louis, was just because we were in that area. And I was like, oh, there's some stuff to do here. Because normally, I take that back. When we play the pageant area, I'm like, at least there's a strip of some places to go. All I really need, bare minimum, when I'm on tour is coffee and some vegetarian food. So if that's nearby, then I have a good day. Hobby wise, over the years, I've collected Star Wars toys, and now I'm doing hockey cards and stuff like that. So I'm
Oh, that's awesome.
if I could walk to a card shop, I'm happy, But St. Louis that day was just I don't know. There was something about playing, because it was kind of the second time on that tour we played a more sporty area, because that's literally just part of the ballpark there. And the first show of the tour too, we played right where the Flyers and the Eagles play, right there.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I'm enough of a sports enjoyer to really know that this is special.
Yeah, Ballpark Village is really cool too. Just the way they built that up. They built that little outdoor stage, and they have the old field set up to where the old Busch Stadium used to be and stuff that you can kind of run the bases or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's out there in the lawn of where that stage is. But it's really cool that you guys got to do that. And I think that's Taking Back Sunday's second time playing there.
Yeah, I think they've been there before. Yeah.
Yeah. But dude, St. Louis, I don't ever want to live there again. I love St. Louis. That's what I claim as home. Not so much Southern Illinois, but St. Louis. But there's so much fun stuff to do there. If drinking is your thing, if you're not into drinking, it gets a little.
Back in the day, we went to what were the couple of bowling alleys that would. Yeah,
Pinup Bowl and Flamingo Bowl.
Yeah, so Flamingo's next to Pageant, right? Or am I thinking?
No, Pinup is next to Pageant, and
So
then
Pinup
Flamingo's the one
for
down
sure.
near where you guys played.
Yeah. So Flamingo back in the day, before we really knew Story of the Year, we would hang out with Dan. I mean, Dan was just like, Dan's Dan, he's the best. And he was like enough of a fan of Bayside to be like, Bayside's is playing, I'm going to go hang out with him, you know? So kind of knew them more. Well, that's how we initially knew them, because we didn't really tour with them or anything. Like, and I really didn't even know Adam until we started to do the Star Wars stuff, you know? So like I knew Dan more than Adam. But yeah, we just, you know, it's the best part of St. Louis for me is that when we play there, normally they're home, so we get to hang out.
That's really cool. Even from being a little kid, like, you know, being 2 hours from St. Louis, it's like, going to St. Louis, I'm going to go to the zoo. It's hands down the best zoo I've ever been to. It's an amazing zoo, and it's free, and there's bars inside of it. And then you have Forest Park, which is the biggest park in the United States. It's even bigger than Central Park, and it's just freaking crazy. All the cool stuff to do there. There's also an amazing science center. You can also get booze there. And then, but when I was a kid, yeah, the all of the art museums that they have that are spread out through there. But like even as a kid, I was obsessed with coming out to St. Louis so I can go to the McDonald's on the river. You know, remember they used to have the McDonald's boat on the river? Like, I don't know.
Memories.
So I just come back, and every time I just, that Greek Fire album, that song just fills my heart with all the love and nostalgia of St. Louis. And it just, well, that was actually the first song I thought of whenever Mike told us the topic for this playlist. Really cool.
I just went to the Arch for the first time in
did you go in it?
Touring. No, that sounded too scary. It sounded like the way people are describing, like,
I agree.
Claustrophobic, like some weird pod or something that you have to be. I'm like, no way. There's no chance.
I got fully distracted by what you said about the McDonald's on the river. Like, what? And then I had to just look it up. What the hell?
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. It's a real thing.
People listening in audio land, you can watch it on YouTube, have it pulled up, looking at pictures. Or you can just Google it, McDonald's.
The Mississippi River.
St. Louis. That's crazy.
I remember we went to the zoo. We took a trip to the zoo, and I'll shut up. Zoo and Six Flags, because there's also a Six Flags in St. Louis, but way outside of St. Louis. But it was whenever Mario Brothers 3 came out. God, that was so long ago. They had the toys, the little Goomba toys that you push down on, and it would suction cup down. It was attached to a spring. When the suction cup really would pop up. Mine popped up over the bar and fell into the river. Wasted Happy Meal. You think I wanted that food? I wanted the toy. Anyway. Hey guys, I think we did it. I think we made a playlist.
Oh, we made a damn good playlist at that. Well deserved.
Wolf Alice, Killers, Silent Majority. I guess some Gorillaz, some Noah Khan. Oh man, we got 4 Year Strong, Death Cab, Electric Call. This is a very good playlist. I'm very excited about it. But before we consider this thing closed out and dead and done, Nick, let's put a Bayside song on here. What Bayside song should we add to this bad boy?
You know, people ask all the time. Like, I spent a lot of time, because we were not the headliner on this last tour. I spent a lot of time like at merch and just chatting with people, whatever. And like a couple of people did ask, like, what's your favorite Bayside song? And like, I always just disclaimer right away. I'm like, it's always going to be something new. It's always going to be recency bias. You know, like I understand fully that the music you grew up on is going to be your favorite. So I understand when people like Devotion, Desire and Walking Wounded and stuff, 100% get it. But like the songs I'm most proud of are always more recent stuff. So a song like Numb on Interrobang would be great. And really like Go to Hell on our last record. Those are songs that thankfully our fans like also, but those were songs where I felt like something, you know, we were doing something right for sure. I'll be made again. I feel no shame.
So we'll add them both. Put them both on there. There's room. Dude, that's awesome. We put together an incredible playlist, heard all kinds of fun stories, and I'm excited to hear a little bit more from you before we close this bad boy out. But just remind everybody, playlist in the show notes. Make sure you go there. You can also go to playlist.com. Can't even say our own podcast name. That's fun. But go to playlist.com and pick up all our playlists as well as the episodes. But Nick, I know we were kind of talking about this before we started recording, but I'm pretty excited for Warped Tour. It's literally across the street from my house. Like I can see the grounds when I look out my balcony. So are you excited? Are you ready for Warped Tour?
Yeah, I mean, we just did the DC version a couple of weeks ago. We haven't done it, I think it's different now, but we did 4 full Warp tours back in the day. They were all miserable. They were all maybe potentially probably could make the case totally not worth it to do. Um, but this iteration of Warp Tour, it's a little bit more leaning like when we were young, like it's a kind of just a 2-day festival, pretty massive in scale. It's just good at this point to see our friends, like we know we're gonna have a good show, like every band there is gonna have a good show. It's just good to hang out with our friends and kind of, I don't know, like I know When We Were Young is not happening this year, but I'm glad Warped Tour exists for that. So for in place of that, for us anyway. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna assume California is gonna feel even better than DC for us. So looking forward to it.
It's right in it's downtown Long Beach, right in the little marina there, the bay, and the wind blows in on you. So even though the sun kicks your ass no matter what in California, at least have that nice breeze coming in the whole time.
Yeah.
And then you can probably just find me. I'll have a camel pack on, like drinking the hell out of water with liquid IV. So speaking of, tours, you got the Warped Tour stuff. You already played the DC, you got the Long Beach coming up, but you've toured with a lot of bands.
Yeah, for sure.
Who's your favorite band to tour with?
I feel like Berlin, we haven't done in so long, but like that's for sure. Like some of our oldest friends, I love getting to hang out with them. It just feels good, like being together. It's we haven't done a tour really since Maddie took over on vocals, but that's another thing. Like I said with Silverstein, I'm like, it's just a matter of time when we tour with Berlin again. Like it's a name that pops up more and more that we're like, we just have to figure out how to do it. So
I'll be there.
Some of our best friends for sure.
I will absolutely be there for that when that happens. I go to every Berlin tour. That When We Were Young that got winded out. I actually me and Dan hung out with Christian for quite a while and partook in some delicious beverages at a bar to go through the night. So I love that man. That is like the sweetest man I've ever met.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, they all are. It's one of the more like, because that was 2007. I know the band Bayside toured with them before I was in the band, so probably like 02, 03 maybe. So when we got to tour with them in 07 again, it was just, it truly was life-changing because we made like lifelong friends, just on that tour. And considering we haven't really shared the stage other than festivals since then, like it's just a testament to like how good they are and like as people. Because we played with plenty of bands since then that we don't keep in touch with as much, so they're just special people.
Now, how about a question from the Graham? This one came in from the Graham. In your opinion, who wins in a fight? Darth Maul in his prime? Darth Vader in his prime?
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely Vader. Vader's a maniac.
We kind of saw that in
we were kind of
Maul series,
that, but I mean, it's just I don't even know if you could really compare. I think
I'd have to lean Vader.
Who do you want to win?
I mean, Anakin, at this point in my life as a almost 46-year-old man, Anakin Skywalker is my favorite Star Wars character, which is insane.
Hell yeah.
Growing up with Luke, but Anakin Skywalker is everything to me. So it's like he became my favorite, like the center of my Star Wars universe, to the point where like I didn't even see Vader anymore. I just saw like a manipulated Anakin. And it changed everything whenever you watched the original trilogy or any animation and you think about what's going on, whether it's an animation with Ahsoka or anything. I'm like, that's just Anakin, and he's being, the dark side and Palpatine have manipulated him, and like you're waiting for him to snap out of it by the end of Return of the Jedi for a second. The first time I said this after Maul Shadow Lord came out, and like, sorry for the spoiler alert, but Vader's in the end of it. I remember talking to my friends after and be like, that's the first time I saw Vader in a long time where I didn't think it was Anakin. That looked like a monster to me. They did such a good job. I was like, that seemed like a little bit like Star Wars horror, the way they were portraying him. He seemed like a monster.
Yeah. You kind of see Vader like that in the Jedi games,
yeah,
where he's more just animalistic, crushing, bludgeoning things with the Force and
Yeah.
just being like a monster versus like the Anakin
Mhm.
we've seen.
Yeah. So yeah, final answer, Vader.
No, that's fair. Darth Maul is like my favorite
It's great.
villain of all
Yeah.
time. But I absolutely think Vader would crush him. So
Yeah.
it's not even close. No, that's great, man. So the next comes from shout out to Teresa. Big T is one of you guys' biggest fans. We've had to hear her talk about it in the Story of the Year discords and chats and message boards and all this stuff.
You
She's
say anything bad about Bayside, she will come at you
Thank
with the
you.
switchblade.
she'll be
Good.
quiet
She'll find
for
out where you
weeks.
live.
She'll be
Yeah.
quiet for weeks, and nobody will even tag her. And somebody will be like, "I don't like this one Bayside song," and she'll be like, "I'm gonna murder your entire family." And it's just like, "Where'd you come from?" I believe you. She actually. She was so excited she got to, I guess, meet you in St. Louis. You're just
Awesome.
the other day. So she had the question. So she knows that there's some B-side tracks coming. She's very excited. When can she expect a new album?
Next year. Yeah. We're working on it. It's one of those things like I feel like there's always like over the course of the last 10 or 15 years of recording, we're like, let's surprise everyone. Like don't let them even know we're in the studio. And now we're just like the way, I mean, speaking of manipulation, the way we're all manipulated by social media and the things we have to do to even remain 2% relevant on Instagram is like just content farm as much as possible. So, I mean, we were in the studio a couple months ago. We posted here and there about it, and the people who are paying the most attention are like, hey, what are you guys doing? So it's not like we're announcing we're in the studio or anything, but we're kind of just posting about it as we're in the studio. And if something funny happens or the producer has a dog, take a picture of the dog in the studio. And some people are like, I think they're in the studio, like kind of just one of those things. So, yeah, we got a couple songs recorded, like fully recorded already, and we'll finish up by the end of the summer. And then that'll pretty much bring us to new music at the top of the year. But yeah, with the B-sides and B-sides and kind of just one other thing that we have going on at the end of the B-side releases, because we're going to release all 4 of them. There's 4 never before streamed B-sides. We're going to release them over the course of the summer. So yeah, so I mean, again, the hardcore fans have heard of them already. They're not unreleased. They're just kind of rare. That's probably the best term for them. They're rarities, but they've never been streamed before. So we're trickling those out over the course of the summer, and towards the end of the year, we'll have something fun, and then like new music next year for sure.
It's awesome, dude. I know people are excited. When I said you were coming on the show, people were like, ask about an album. When can we get you? So there it is, everybody, especially you, Teresa. I had to make sure and say that was for you. So, dude, thank you for answering those quick fire questions. But this is where I kind of want to open it up to you. Like, what's going on? I mean, I feel like you kind of answered that, but anything else going on, even Thank the Maker, or anything that we should be expecting from Bayside? I know you hinted at maybe a surprise.
Yeah, I mean,
but
it's just kind of plugging stuff, like I basically have about a month off right now before we play Great South Bay Festival on Long Island with Koyo and the Used, and I want to say Cartel. That's like a Thursday, and then that next morning I fly to San Diego because we have our Mosh Eisley like Comic-Con party, and then that Sunday is Warped Tour Long Beach. So I have a month off before I have a hectic long weekend, and then about 2 weeks off until we do I want to say it's called Afterburn Festival in Cleveland with Third Eye Blind, and I think Newfound Glory are on that. And then we all come back to California to finish the record. We have other stuff going on that's not announced yet, but yeah, we're gonna have a busy rest of the year. We really like had potentially, I'm not keeping track or anything, but I think we've just had the longest amount of time like off the road that we've ever had. When we finished our anniversary tour last year, we had a solid 9 months off until basically this TBS tour that we just wrapped up. So yeah, we were busy though. We were off the road, but we were writing music. That's pretty much it. And I think next year just get it all going again. Lots of touring, new music. As far as personal, like what I'm doing after we finish this podcast, I'm gonna go open a bunch of hockey cards with my friends.
Hell yeah.
That's been my
Nice.
latest thing that I've gotten into at the beginning of this year was through I kind of see like the trajectory of how it happened, and it seemed like it was like kind of slowly happening until I dove in, and I collected when I was a kid, and kind of the hobby in general is coming back because I think everyone my age is having a midlife crisis. So the
think
thing
everybody in their
is,
40s.
it's expensive. So everyone can Venmo me money so I can buy more hockey games.
What would be the packs you would ask people to bring if they were to gift you like a booster pack or two?
I mean, the thing is, Upper Deck is the only one who does hockey. So, and they even own all the old brands. So they own Fleer
Wow.
and
I didn't know
Parkhurst,
that.
and yeah. So any hockey brand that comes out is basically made by Upper Deck at this point. So it's just always what's new. Like there's something that came out today. So me and my buddies have a couple boxes of them. We're just going to go open them.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I mean, whatever the most current Upper Deck series that's out, that would be. So yeah, some people brought me some stuff on tour. I tried I gave myself to, I have decent self-control. I told myself on this tour I wanted to go to as many card shops as I could go to as long as they were walking distance. And I pretty much did that until we were off in Indianapolis. And this place that I had known about called Indie Card Exchange was like 3 miles away, and it was raining out, and it was just like a bad day. We had off. There's nothing to do. I'm like, you know what? I totally walked to all the card stores I wanted to go to. I allow myself to Uber to one of them. So I did that. But yeah, it's fun. It's like back in the day, I would try to go to toy stores and look for Star Wars toys and stuff like that. So it's they're just all old hobbies I did when I was a kid, Like it's kind of, like I said, I think it's the perfect storm of like people our age are kind of in charge of these industries now. So they're kind of making things that they would want when, we were all kids, or we would all want when we were kids. So there's a lot of cool stuff out there. Just the collectible market in general is, it's a lot of fun. It's dangerous because it is expensive. So you have to have some
Very much, yeah.
control. But it's, I think it's probably better than buying a Corvette or whatever people did when they had midlife.
Or fucking $3,000 guitars that you think that you just need to buy several of. So yeah.
And like with anything I get into, I think like I'm just drawn to community. So I like making friends and going to card shops. And like in Virginia Beach, I didn't even wind up buying anything at the shop, but I wound up talking to the owner for like 2 hours. And I'm like, all right, well, later. But yeah, it's been fun. Made some, a couple of friends here and there. Spend way too much time on that Whatnot app. Spending way too much money.
Oh my god!
Yeah. You can get sucked into that thing pretty fast.
Yep. But again, I think I have decent self-control. I don't know. It's the bigger issue is that we didn't tour for 8 months. I'm like, I've spent a lot of money since February on hockey cards. I'm like, yeah, the bigger issue is that I didn't make any money for 8 months. That's the bigger issue.
Time to start Ubering.
Yeah.
Being the Uber driver.
Yeah.
Nick, this has been absolutely phenomenal, dude. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this whole podcast with us. Adam, this is an ongoing joke, by the way, just so you know. It's an ongoing joke with Adam. He's always like, yep, here's the date. I'm coming on the show. And then I'll be like, he's like, can't do it. Like every time. It's happened for 2 years now. So it's
it's gotten more and more difficult just to even do Thank the Makers with all of us, because it's just, I mean, it actually, Thank the Maker started like a month before COVID. So it wasn't like born out of COVID, but it definitely thrived during COVID, like most podcasts did, So we came out of it. We came out of COVID with Mosh Eisley, and like, Star Wars were still a thing as far as like Disney Plus putting out series and stuff. And like the less they put out series and people just have lives outside of the world, the further we've moved away from COVID, it's like the bubble kind of burst, and like we're all busier than we were years ago when we were doing that. And there's also less Star Wars to talk about. So just Thank the Maker in general is just like, it's tough for our schedules to line up. I mean, I'm sure, next week I think I'll be back on it, but like, I don't know what we're going to talk about. There's not like a show on that we have that we could talk about. So
in like a month, you guys have the next Mosh Eisley, which I was at the first one at Chain Reaction.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's fun. That
was right when Chain Reaction started serving alcohol too, which made it like a double awesome. R.I.P. Chain Reaction.
Yeah, that's one of the dudes who I'm gonna go hang out with Andy right now because he's into hockey cards. He ran Chain Reaction for all those years. So, but yeah, I mean, Mosh Eisley is like ultimately, again, it's just another niche community. It's like the intersection of emo and Star Wars and cosplaying, you know, like it's definitely a lot of fun, and people, the community is kind of always like dictated to us like what it was. Even showing up to Chain Reaction, we didn't know what to expect, and we saw people dressed up and made emo and punk Star Wars costumes and stuff, and like at the end of the night we were like, oh, that's what it's supposed to be. So we were like, now we have a business. We didn't realize that's what we were doing. So it's been a couple of years now. Like, again, that's just another thing that like schedules can like totally suck, because we have not only like band people, but then we have actual adults with adult jobs that were other podcasters that we made friends with over the years. It's like no one's schedules ever line up. We're lucky if we do 3 or 4 of them a year. I would love to do more, and people ask us to do them, and we always revolve them around conventions and stuff. So if there's a convention in town, we'll try to have an after party for it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's just tough to do more than like 3 or 4 a year.
The one that I went to was absolutely a blast. I even got like a Mandalorian mask, and I was wearing a Sunny Day Real Estate T-shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was like emo DeLorean. So
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It was so fun. But dude, yeah, I'll try to make it to your San Diego drop as well, man. So but
yeah, it's on July 24th, Friday. It's our 4th year in a row, same venue. The last 3 years, like all 3 years have sold out. I assume this will sell out. It's a little I don't want to like pat ourselves on the back that much, but it's like a little disrupty, because like I feel like we've heard that other after parties don't do as well anymore on Friday nights, because we do ours on Friday night. So
that's awesome.
Sorry. We're the new guys here.
A lot of people might actually already be kind of moving on up their way to Long Beach. Some of the, emo type scene folks. So it might not, I don't know, maybe it'll still be great. They'll be like, fuck this, we're doing this, and wake up in the morning and driving to Long Beach.
Totally. Yeah.
So, damn, guys, we did it. What an awesome podcast episode. Great playlist. Nick, thank you so much for joining us. This has been so great. Nick, where can they find you and your band?
I'm at Nick Bayside on Instagram, pretty much the only social media that I use. I do have a Discord channel that, very few people are in, just because it's like behind a little Patreon paywall thing. It was all based off of a radio show I used to do when Spotify let you put songs in podcasts. Did you guys didn't exist then, did you?
We wanted to do this then, but fell out
So
of
your
that
show actually got me wanting to do my own show.
And then they sunset they
took it away.
So there's like a kind of an old radio show community that's on Discord there, which is pretty awesome. So that's, I guess, the only other secondary kind of like social media thing that we do. And then Instagram for Bayside is just at Bayside, I'm pretty sure. So we got a lot of stuff, like I said, really like starting this week through, I don't know, the next year or so, like have a lot going on between touring and new music and these B-sides we have, stuff like that. So it's a good time to, whether you're either just learning about Bayside or whatever, it's definitely a plentiful time right now.
Hell yeah. And I know so many people are going to be excited about this episode, hopefully. Hey, and guys, don't forget, go buy merch and go to their shows and buy their vinyls and buy their merch and that's how the bands make their money. I can't stress that enough on this podcast. Yeah. So go to the shows, buy merch, buy vinyl, do the damn thing, and support these guys. But Nick, thank you so much for joining us here at the Playlist Podcast. Everyone, we'll see you next time, because we love you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.